Hi guys! Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Ang aking isi-share ay ang The American Legacy in the Philippines is about history. After more than 4 decades of colonial rule in the United States of America left the lasting legacy of the life of the Filipinos. Throughout the period of the colonization, the American citizens effectively changed the political, economic, social, and cultural landscape of the country. First is the education for Filipinos. America's most important legacy in the country was the system of education. As part of the colonial policy during the occupation period, education was aggressively promoted. As early as 1898, 7 American schools had been established in Manila. And from 1898 to 1900, more than 100,000 Filipino children enrolled in different public schools. Filipinos were taught English. The teaching of English language in Filipino was another significant American policy in the Philippines. With English as the medium of instruction in schools, the Americans introduced new knowledge about science, math, and technology. Eventually, the use of English language enabled Filipinos to easily assimilate American culture. And the first public school teachers in the Philippines were Thomasites because they arrived in the country on board the ship SS Thomas. And after a few years of instituting education in the Philippines, the Americans started sending deserving students to the United States for further study. These Filipino scholars were called Pensionados. They composed an elite group of Filipino who were trained to become the future teachers and civil servants in the Philippines. Next is the improvement in transportation and communication. The introduction of the modern modes of transportation was an important step towards the country's economic development. The old means of transportation like kalesas, karetelas, and bangkas were replaced by cars, trucks, trains, boats, and airplanes. This resulted in the faster transportation of people and distribution of products from one place to another. Subsequently, new roads, bridges, and ports were built all over the country. Road mileage increased more than tenfold, while the number of bridges rose from 2,600 in 1898 to 8,100 in 1935. Next is the improvement in public health. The Americans also implemented public health and welfare programs. They established the quarantine service, which helped prevent the spread of diseases and epidemic from other countries. In 1901, the Board of Public Health was established to further improve of the public health system in the Philippines. If educated the Filipinos on modern medical findings and practices which eventually challenged their superstitious belief regarding health and diseases. The direct result of the emphasis of public health initiated by the Americans was significant. Before the American occupation, the average of the Filipinos was between 5'2" and 5'4". When the Americans introduced the diet and modern medicine, this average increased from 5'4" to 5'6". More importantly, the mortality rate among infants were also reduced. Next is in 1905. The Americans started installing telephone lines in the country. In 1933, the radio telephone service was introduced in making public administration more efficient as towns and provincial capitals were linked throughout telephone. Let's check this out. Did you know that the coming of the American ushered the introduction of the new religion called Protestantism? On September 6, 1899, Christian Bibles were first distributed in Manila. Soon after, religious sects came to the country and introduced the faith to the natives. Among these were the Baptist Church in 1900, United Brethren and Disciples of Christ 1901, Congregationalists 1902, Seventh-day Adventists in 1905, and Methodist Episcopalians in 1908. Unlike the Spaniards, the Americans did not force Filipinos to embrace any of the new religions. They promoted the right of the freedom to choose any religion. In fact, indigenous religion also grew during the period of the colonization, and one example was the establishment of Iglesia Filipino Independiente of the Aglipay Church. So that's all and what I can share, guys, for today. Thank you very much for watching, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates and more videos. I love you all.